the church's tax exempt status,
Mm-hmm.
where do you see that falling
Yeah.
within the line of separation of church and state?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, right?
Right.
Because the tax exempt status was given to the church based upon the church being a charity, basically.
Okay.
Right. In other words, so it's a nonprofit. So charitable organizations who are nonprofits
Mhm.
are not taxed, so that they can use their funds to the greatest degree they can for the benefit of whatever, charity that they're involved in.
Mhm.
Okay. Or whatever nonprofit movement they're involved in. And so churches were given the same way, the tax exempt status in that same light. In
Mhm.
other words, you're a nonprofit, you're doing good for the community, therefore we're not going to tax you, because we want to make sure that you can use as much resource as you can for the benefit of the community. All right. So in that line, I'm good with churches having a non-tax, or having a tax exempt status.
Okay.
Do I believe that will still be there in 10 more years? I'm much more doubtful about that.
Okay.
Because again, we're getting to this point of being free from religion.
Mhm.
And again, I think it's the whole idea of the perspective of, well, see, but churches shouldn't get the status because they are not, we need to separate religion out of this. But that's never the intent. If the church is doing good for the community, then I think that we should hold the same exempt status as other nonprofits that are doing similar works.
Okay.
So if we're caring for the needy, if we're caring for the poor, if we're caring for the homeless, if we're caring for the widow, if we're caring for the orphan, then I mean, why shouldn't we be able to use as much as we can resource-wise to give toward those? Okay.
So should churches have to provide information on how they're actually helping?
Sure.
Do they do that already?
It's one of the things that's really kind of come down
Okay.
is on a lot of churches where it's like, no, we need to see a full audit of how you're spending.
Okay.
So in other words, I am completely okay with the fact that if we're going to get that status, right, then churches should be scrutinized in the same way that other charitable organizations are.
Okay.
For that. Now, I don't believe they should be targeted, which
Right.
has happened some, but I do believe, but I also understand, when I look at some of the churches and ministries that were targeted, I get why they were targeted.
Mhm.
It looks a little shady.
Right.
Because, man, y'all got really nice buildings and your pastors have really nice cars, and how do they have a jet? And, I get all that.
Mhm.
And so that's why I'm saying, if you're going to receive that benefit from the government, then I do think that it's
completely within the government's purview
to
ask
say,
you for,
hey,
okay.
we're providing you with this.
Yeah.
We just need to ensure that you're doing what you're saying you're doing with
Okay.
the money. And that would be the same for any organization. So any other organization is going to have overhead costs. They're going to have to explain
Yeah.
why they spent what they spent. Churches should be no different in that way.